Disclaimer. This video will be demonstrating how to make alterations to the data file for use of the Kodak Alaris Picture Saver scanning software, versions PS50, PS80, and version PS5080. Any alteration to the information in the files that we're showing you are made at your own risk. Please be aware it may be necessary to reinstall the entire Picture Saver scanning software application in order to restore this file to its original values if you make certain changes. Hi, this is Rick over at Easy Photo. Want to spend a few minutes with you sharing with you how it's possible that you can make alterations to the data file of the Kodak Picture Saver scanning software. Now there's a number of versions of those. There's the PS50, the PS80, and the PS5080 software versions. And this alteration methodology can be applied to any of them. So you've got your Kodak Picture Saver scanner and you've got your software that is provided by Kodak Alaris that requires the dongle and comes in several versions that we've spoken about. And they come with presets. Now, those presets, all in all, are great, but there are some things that you may want to change. We're going to show you how to do that. Again, just a quick note that if you make changes to these files, you're going to want to follow the procedures that we suggest here in order for you to keep in the original values to keep you from having to reinstall the software if things go awry. So the first thing you will do is, this is a Windows-based application. You will want to navigate on your computer to the C drive, find the program folder, then look for the KDS_Kodak and then the Picture Saver scanning system. Now there's some other directions if you're on a Windows 7 platform. This is on a Windows 10. But when you do it this way, you will actually, having navigated that path, you'll find this file called the print.ini file. You may want to also be aware that this may be a hidden file on your computer. So if it doesn't show up right away and you've got everything properly installed and it's all working, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to refer back to your Windows helps to show you how to show hidden files in this directory. And in that way, this will show up for you. All right, so with all ready to go, and we found the print.ini file. When we open it, you can open it in a number of different applications. I'm going to use Visual Studio Code to show it to you today, but you can also open it up in WordPad, Notepad. You don't have to have an actually a code viewer. But we're going to go ahead and open this up. And when we do, what we're going to see is all of the green area that you see on your screen are definitions. They explain all the various presets that this file drives and the values to which it was set for default. We'll walk through the ones that we normally recommend people take a look at if they're going to consider making any alterations. We're also going to point out a few not to adjust because they can have some pretty dramatic impact on the process of scanning and the quality of the end results. So let's take a look here and see. You'll notice here that you can select the scanning mode. Well, you can already do that in the scanner. You could make it as to default if it is always two-sided. You could make that number here. I'll show you where in just a moment. To default, it defaults to front side, but you could change the number. That's a 0. You could change the number to 2 and make it two-sided. You can adjust resolution. So if you have a set prescribed format that you scan in and you're wanting that to always come up and not have to make the operator go in and change those settings, you can go through each one of these areas. We do not recommend you adjust the sharpening. We do not recommend you adjust the contrast, and we do not recommend that you change the chrome factor. Those are things that you can do, but again, you may wind up restoring back to the original values. There are a couple things we do recommend that you consider doing. First of all, your scanner comes with a reverse face-up feature that if you scan them, since it pulls from the bottom as they're going in and being scanned with the picture side up, when it stops scanning, it will reverse out. Now you can do a couple things. You can extend the time out feature so that you can have plenty of time to feed more pictures in, or you can change the feature and turn that feature on and off. In fact, we have another video specifically designed for that, so I won't spend any more time there. You can see you can also adjust if you have a flatbed, the rotation. The remove border feature is a function that you can do and toggle on and off in your software, so nothing really there other than if you wanted to set it as a preset and say, I always want the aggressive crop on. You could make that as a default. And we can go all the way through the various settings. I will also note to you that it shares information about where the files are saved and the path to where those files are saved. And you'll see here it's called target path, specifies image output folder location. Default install is C:/scanned_pictures. That's the default value. Now if you want to change that, you want to take some precautionary steps. First of all, always remember that if you're using an external type of device, such as a jump drive or an external USB drive, and you have multiple USB ports, depending on the order and the way things are plugged in, that E drive won't always be the E drive, meaning that always saves to your USB port. We do not recommend you changing this pathway. However, if you do, it is our strong urging that you only change it to a pathway that has a fixed drive assignment in your system. So for instance, let's say you had your drive partitioned off into a C and a D drive. Okay, well you could do that, right? Or let's say for instance you had a standard hard drive and then you had one of the new solid state drives in your computer and you wanted to push them all over to that area because it's got more space. You could do that as well because those numbers aren't going to change. You're always going to have whatever the letter that has been assigned to it when you set the drive up. You're always going to have a C drive and you'll have a D, and that D drive will always be that solid state drive or that partition drive. No problem. But if you are using this and changing it to something that can change depending upon the order in which the devices are plugged into your computer, beware. Because what will happen is you will lose your pictures. So with that said, let's see how we change all these things. If you go down a little bit further, you'll notice here in the blue, we have a number of different settings. One in the image processing and one about machine information. These folder sizes are those folder sizes, so when you're making your jobs and you're putting them out, it says, hey, look, if I'm going to put on a PC, it's going to be this many megabytes, it's going to be this many for CD, it's going to be this many for DVD, and for USBs. You can make those adjustments to larger sizes if you do that. A lot of people don't use CDs anymore, and they're using bigger USB. So use that, and remember that these numbers are in megabytes. We talked a little bit about how you could make some default changes. Here's that reverse format. So to turn that and change that, you could make that a number 1. You can also, if you wanted to, come along here and again make that adjustment for I always want to remove the border, or I don't want to. However it is, so you make it that it always sets up in the resolution and the factor that you want, so that you don't have to go into the settings all the time. So that's one feature that you can do with this. The other we spoke about is to change this path, and that path right there is the target path to where the pictures will be scanned, and that's where we want you to go in if you're going to make that change. And remember the warning, you don't want to do it in something that the drive letters will change depending upon the order of which your devices are plugged in, but you can change that right there. So that's it. Please feel free to let us know if you have any other questions about this tool. I will tell you one thing as we part, to stop you from having any problems or prevent you from having any problems. We'd always recommend prior to changing this file, you make a copy of it. Just merely copy it and paste it. And now that file sits there, it resides, it has all the original factors. The print INI file is the file that you will want to be altering or to changing to the specifics that you would like. This way, in the event that you ever have a problem, you can just merely delete this one, reinstate the print INI file, and you get back to the original settings. One other comment, if you do a reinstall and have made changes in your print INI, you will want to make a copy of that change and have it available, because when you reinstall, it will reinstall over any changes that you have made, so that you can reinstate them by merely, again, kind of doing the reverse thing. This would be a copy. You're getting ready to reinstall. You go ahead and just make this a copy of what your adjusted settings were, and then once you've installed, jump over here to this pathway here in the program data, the KDS Kodak folder, picture saver scanning system folder, and reinstate, saving the original print INI file. You can just rename it here, original INI file, and maybe the date that you did it on. And you've got that, and then you can reinstate the one that was originally changed. And just all you have to do with that is just take it, because we just made a copy, and do like so. Okay, so now we have the original and we have the print INI file here. So if you have any other questions about that, feel free to give us a call here at Easy Photoscan. Reach out to us on our website at easyphotoscan.com. We're online Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 to chat. You can also reach us by email at info@easyphotoscan.com or by telephone number, and that telephone number is 866-468-7250. Happy scanning.